Come on, England! Good evening, everybody. I don't know who's watching. There might be no one watching at the minute. It's 9:30 on a Sunday night. Most people have gone to bed. They're getting ready for work in the morning. And here we are talking about the two-time world champions, 50 overs and T20. No other men's team has done that. We will bring that up tonight. Anyway, quickly before we start, if you're watching us live, please hit the like button. If you're watching us back, which probably a lot of people will do, please hit the like button as well. Good evening, Ben Moore in the chat. I think you could be on your own. Colin might be on his way. I don't know. But also, I think Gov's going to make this available as an audio download. So hopefully sometime in the morning, it'll be available on all your good platforms where you get your podcast from anyway. We're going to get going quickly tonight. You know, we've got a lot to get through. I've got about 3 sheets of A4 paper here, loads of stats, loads of T20 stuff, mainly about England. It's an England cricket podcast. We don't really want to talk about many other teams. We'll probably touch on a few of them. Joining me tonight is Vice Captain Brandon. I've got Ian, I've got Rob, and I've got Neil. Yeah, they all are. And we're definitely not going to talk about Wolves, Rob, yeah?
No. Boxing Day. Leave it to Boxing Day.
Anyway, before we start, we had some sad news yesterday with the passing of David English, CBE. Ian's going to do a little tribute. I said to him today, could you do a little tribute? And I'll hand over to you, Ian. Take it away.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the England team were wearing black armbands for David English today. I'd met him a couple of times, and he's an absolute character, English eccentric. He was a cricket man through and through. You talk cricket with him, you couldn't get away from him. But sadly, he passed away. And why he's such an important figure, I think, is not only did he raise about £15 million for charities, he was the founder of Bunbury CC, and they did a lot of charitable work. As you say, he was an MBE, I think 2003, 2010. He got the CBE for his services to charity. He was actually on the Lord's ground staff, and he also played for the MCC. But he was the president of RCO Records. He signed the Bee Gees. He signed Eric Clapton. He managed various bands. He did all sorts of things. He was an actor. He was in the film A Bridge Too Far. He was a writer. He did the Bunbury Tales books, and then there was a cartoon series on Channel 4. But the reason why it was so important for English cricket is that he ran the Bunbury Festival since, I think it was 1987. Now, the ECB actually took over the running of the Bunbury Festival in 2018, and it's been a key part of their ECB player pathway ever since. And effectively, what they had London in the east, Midlands in the north, and south and west. That was it. Yeah, I think it was in 3 regions, 56 players of the best players at under 15 level, and there's over 1,000 first-class players that came through the Bunbury Festival, and over 125 international players, the likes of Flintoff and Root. So it was something that he did for junior cricket at that time, for the counties, in effect, and to give those players an opportunity to shine. But as I say, it's part of the England pathway now, and it still bore the Bunbury name, but it was run by the ECB. So 76 years old, absolutely had an outstanding, career in all manifestations, but certainly for cricket, a very important figure. And he did it for the love of the game. He didn't do it for payment or anything like that. He just did it for the love of cricket. So it was quite fitting that the England players were wearing black arms today.
I think I've done a little bit of research, Ian, and there was 10 out of the 11 who played in the 2019 final at Lords that played in the Bunbury Festival. You know, you just said Flintoff, there was Alistair Cook. So many players had come through there. I remember the books, sort of when I was younger.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Jeffrey Boycat and all the other ones. If anyone knows any in the chat, put them in there. But look, a great man. And I think it was rather fitting, wasn't it, that England lifted that trophy today. They had the black armbands on. Josh Butler done a really good tribute. I was doing a bit of research, Brandon. Chris Wokes played in it, your favourite player.
There you go. There you go.
Listen, brilliant man, and he'll be sadly missed. But I think it's just fitting today that England were in the final, and they won the trophy. And brilliant comments there and words there, Ian. I really appreciate that. Anyway, moving it on. But where do we all want to start? Brandon, I'll let you start. You can go wherever you want to. Not Chris Wokes. Not Chris Wokes at this minute.
Okay. We'll start then with, for me, the shining light for England's baton through the series. And I was speaking to Ian briefly before we started on how important it seemed that in all matches across the tournament, the power play was in terms of deciding the winner. Especially in all of the England games, if you look at it, we lost one power play, and that was really against Ireland when they came around the park a little bit, and we struggled to get going that game, and we lost that one. And you look at the teams who maybe underachieved, like the Australias, who Finch and Warner had a torrid time of it all tournament. South Africa, their openers, Bavuma and de Kock, didn't really get going. And I suppose India are the only exception where their openers struggled, but their 3 and 4 went off. So you didn't realise throughout the whole tournament just how important the power plays were in every single game. And England, obviously, with Butler and Hales coming back in the team, done really well at the top of the order with every game, other than, as I said, maybe the Ireland one, which was rained off when it looked like we were about to get back in the game. But I just wanted to touch on Butler and Hales and how whoever seems to open the baton for England in whichever format, white ball cricket, we seem to get off to absolute flyers. But to come back into it and struggle really in the 7-match series at Pakistan at times, Hales, I think it's massive credit to him for how he's performed this tournament.
Talk to me, Rob. He's a bit clubby, you called him. You're on mute. Go on here.
I wanted to see how long we saved it until we told him.
Hello. So, Hales, a bit clubby. Yeah, to be fair, he's got some reasonable numbers in the World Cup. I think the pitches have suited him particularly. But I think on this topic, what has to be said is that Mr. Village himself, Mohammed Harris, batting 3 for them, looked absolute village at all times and made Hales look like Tendulkar. So, no, Hales did well.
He was swinging like a rusty gate this morning, wasn't he, when he came in there? I think it took him 6 balls to get off the mark. He flicked one over the top and then slapped one straight down Longwan's throat.
Terrible cricket. So that sort of exposed how average Pakistan were after their opening pair. Sham Masood's okay, but just looking at it, they had, I think, Nawaz at 7. We've got Livingston, they had the all-rounder leg spinner at 6. We were always going to win that game. I think it was really ours to mess up. But what I was really impressed with, my takeaway from the tournament, apart from Butler's runs, was the way he led the side. In particular, how him and probably Matt Mott, who deserves a lot of credit too, have plotted how to win each game. Afghanistan game wasn't that pretty. And then we didn't really get going out of second gear, but didn't really need to. I'm sure we'd have absolutely pumped the Aussies if we were given permission to by the weather. But what we did really well is played really well to the conditions and the grounds we played on. So when it was short, straight and wide at Melbourne, we bowled sort of into the wicket. And when it was long, straight and short sideways, we bowled fuller. So, Rashid, probably a bit of a sort of quiet tournament for some people who just look at wickets. But he bowled really well in the middle and teams he didn't take loads of wickets, but he just ticked by, and that set it up nicely for Curran to just bowl his absolute dreamy end of over stuff, and we just didn't look like going for many at all at the end. So Brandon was absolutely right. It was won at the start by the batters, but the bowlers did a great job in the middle and at the end in particular in every game. And it's already been touched on, probably the best field inside as well. I just think, I know I predicted it, but we just were, player for player, the best team by a country mile for me. Really, just clinical.
I do just want to add that I think that the Pakistan T20 team are like the Oreos with the extra bit in the middle. The top of it is really hard and crunchy, and then there's a lot of soft bit in the middle, and then their bowling
Hang on,
attack.
you used this in the last podcast. Come on, you have
Yeah,
to.
and it's the
you
same.
said it's a wagon wheel.
Same.
There's a wagon wheel last time.
It's the extra. No, but you know the Oreos with the extra bit in the middle. That is Pakistan's T20 team. If you get Bubba and Rizwan out early doors, they're relatively ordinary.
Apart from their bowling attack, Neil, was probably the best in the tournament. Look, arguably, you could say, look, England won it, but their bowling attack today was. Look, I really enjoyed it. Sometimes I think the tournament as a whole, it wasn't like bat ruled ball, right? No. You know, it was also the bowlers had a little bit in the wickets. You look at that wicket this morning; it was seeming about. If they'd have probably got 150, 160, I think that would have been a winning score. You know, we kept them sort of under wraps. But I was never. Did you ever think, Neil, that we were ever going to lose that game when we were chasing?
Not lose it. I got a little bit nervous middle overs that we threw some daft shots away a little bit. I was never really thinking that we were going to lose it. No, I won't go to that extent. To be fair, Naseem Shah bowled superbly. Harris Rauf, I think, is massively underrated. When he played for Yorkshire the other season, it was only county championship. I was begging them to sign him for longer. I think he was superb. And let's face it, the one thing we haven't talked about is Shah Afridi getting injured and what difference that could have made. I've seen a lot of people saying that, okay, we think we'd have still won, but it'd have been closer. Ultimately, you know, we should be rubbing our hands together and going, dodged one there, because without him, Iftikhar came on completely fresh, got pagging about a bit. They just creamed him around, and it was a much easier proposition from that point of view. But no, definitely been more of a bowlers tournament, I would suggest.
Yeah, I think he's nailed it there, Neil, hasn't he? And really, you know, when he came on Iftikhar, they knew that was the time to put the foot on the accelerator. And look, we're going to touch on it. We could go there now. Is Ben Stokes, Ian, England's greatest all-time cricketer?
Not yet. But you're asking me because I'm the old timer, so I've got, visions of Ian Botham and what Ian Botham could do. Look, I think what strengthens Ben Stokes' case is the fact that he's won World Cups and the fact that he's a great player in all formats. I know he's no longer going to be playing international. He's not going to be playing ODIs, which is sensible because we need to keep him in the Test arena. So it's similar to a root situation there. But you make an exceptional case. I did see him as an under 19 England player. I suggested he might play for England, but with everything that he's been through as well, it's absolutely phenomenal. I mean, his innings today, some of the shots he played, they were just little check drives, and they're just timing them to the boundary. It wasn't that he was, swinging himself and swiveling himself into the, course going into the turf. He was standing up there and just sort of timing it and bunting it through. They were some of the best shots that he played. He nearly got out, didn't he? At long on or long off, where he's trying to overhit the ball. But that's the way he plays. I mean, it needed somebody to step up. And Neil mentions the injury. I mean, there were a couple of catches that were that short of being taken. Yeah. That 2 or 3 of those are taken, and it's a different game, because I think it was going to be a low scoring game. Is he the best England player of all time? Not for me, but I might be. I am but one voice.
What do we all think? Anyone else? What do you think, Neil?
I'll raise something, and this is going to sound really petty. I was sat there with the missus watching it this morning, and one thing that does wind me up about Ben Stokes, what I will say about him as a cricketer, one thing he has to be given is that he is the best performer under pressure on a cricket field I have ever seen.
Yeah.
Absolutely under pressure. There's nobody to touch him. Whether that's today, I'll mention another pressure moment later on, whether it was Headingley. unbelievable. The one thing that does wind me up a little bit is when he's bowling, his insistence, and I know we talk about bowling to plans and we've discussed that for different pitches, his insistence on bowling short and into the body, which gets him in trouble because he has a tendency to push it too much down the leg side and he gets pulled for runs too easily. I know it's a plan, but I just think sometimes his bowling gets a bit samey, back of a length into the body, and he can get picked off a little bit like that. And it just annoys me a little bit that I think he's a better bowler when he pitches it up. But, as I said, plans. But under pressure, just after the game, I said that to somebody. Just unbelievable guy under pressure, and fair play to the fella.
Mentality monster, I'll call him, Brandon. The mentality of that man is unbelievable. He was under pressure there. At the over that Nasim Shah bowled, when he beat him, Neil? I think at least 3 times, didn't he? And he probably knew that he had to stay in there because he had eaten up quite a few balls. I know he caught up at the end, didn't he? He was over a strike of 100 at the end, but he knew if he stayed there and he batted till the 19th over, guys, he was going to win the game for England. And that was when I was watching it. It was always England back the time they would win the game. It was a case of if Pakistan, they were going to win, they had to bowl us out. We've only chased nearly 140 to win, Brandon. You know that the pressure's on the bowling side, really, isn't it? We like you said, the power play. What did we get? Did we get 49 in the first 6?
For 3 wickets, and as I sort of touched on, I think any other team in the tournament, if you have 3 wickets down after 6 overs, they probably don't have much left to go on. But as Ian touched on, we've got or Rob, we've got Livingston coming in at 7. Livingston has hardly got a bat all tournament, and then you've got Curran and obviously Wokes, who is my number 1 for best player ever. For
Rashid,
but,
you've got Rashid, who's scored first-class centuries, batting at number 11. I mean, what other team has got that strength in depth all the way down?
And the thing is, because of the quality of Stokes, I thought Stokes has opened the bowl, and his first overs, most of the games this tournament that he bowled were quite good. I think he's taken 6 wickets. He's gone for, I think it's about 6.5 and over across the tournament. So you have to put value in that. Obviously, we know other than the misfield he had in the, I think it was in the semi-final on the boundary when he let 4 go through him. It's the only misfield he had. It was hit hard. It's sort of on the half volley to him, but other than that, he's probably the best fielder in the team, other than maybe Jordan, and Livingston is up there as well.
Super sub, Chris Jordan. They kept popping him on, didn't they?
Yeah, it was clever, wasn't it?
A few overs at the end, pop him out of there. You go out along. Oh, we'll have a couple of free catches. Thanks very much.
I think the value of having Ben Stokes in your team gives you so much flexibility on what you want to do, because you instantly have an extra bowler who's going to bat in the top 4 and do a really good job. You talked about sort of the way that when he wins games for England, the way that he had the tempo of his innings in every occasion that he's done it has been unbelievable. You look at the World Cup against New Zealand at Lords, as you sort of touched on, him and Butler took their time. They weren't playing the normal sort of England white ball innings. You look at the Sri Lanka game, he saw us home there. And I think when he hasn't faced as many balls as maybe other team, if he played another team, he would have. He sees him, he gets himself in, and then when there's a point to go, he goes. It was the same when he batted at Headingley. He was on 2 after 50-odd balls. You know, he got to 50 after 200 balls, and then he went when he had to, when he didn't have much batting down the other end. So I've never seen anything like it.
Just touching on that, did you see Josh Butler's comment today about basically if that was a test team, Ben, you'd drop yourself because he was scoring quite slowly, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I think as it's also been touched on as well, I think Josh Butler is a perfect captain to take over from Morgan. And I think the little lull that we had maybe last summer where we lost a couple of white ball games, it was only ever going to be that short, wasn't it? And that was more so, I think, because there is a bedding in process. No matter how good you are, you're going to have to get used to the new role and things like that. But he's managed it perfectly. But as I said, I think his job's made a little bit easier for the fact that England have the best depth of talent in white ball, I think, in the world right now. The only team that gets close to it is India.
Look at the players, Ian, that we didn't have available. Bairstow, Milan, Wood, Topley, Archer. You know, no one's even spoke about Jofra Archer. We are so lucky that we've got an embarrassment of riches, haven't we?
We have, and you know, if the county championship didn't need such an overhaul, we'd have even more, wouldn't we? No, I think. Listen, I think it is an embarrassment of riches, really, and I think it says a lot. You know, for the system, people say, "Oh, the system's failing, and the counties aren't, you know, earning the money, and this, that, and the other, and county championship, this, that, and the other." You know, we're world champions now in both white ball comps. We don't have, you know, everybody's been talking about, oh, we've not got the IPL, we've not got the Big Bash, so we can't compete. Well, we've shown people that we can compete. Our Royal London Cup, you know, that gets switched around. We've got second 11 players playing in it, which I think we've discussed before. I think that's a really good development opportunity, you know, and this is all, you know, we've had this high performance review, etc. You know, we're world champions in two formats. I think what they need to think a bit about it is the other side of the coin, and to think, what are we doing right then? Because we're doing something right. We are developing and creating all these players. You could have potentially played, as you've listed some names there. You know, Jason Roy, I know he's been out of form, etc. But there's other players that we've all spoken about that could easily go into that side and do a really good job. You know, I think we've got Brook in there. You know, we're able to do that because I think there's less pressure on the lad because there's lots of other people performing. They're not looking at the youngster to take some responsibility. He will do that because he's got that temperament. But you're absolutely right. You know, we could put two 11s. We could have put two 11s out in that competition and done pretty well. I really think
that showed during the COVID years, wasn't it? When the team that we had, I think they all went down nearly with COVID, and we played Pakistan, didn't we, in a series over here when Stokes captained them. And what did we do? We rolled them over 3-0. You know, so you spot on me comments there. Getting back to our journey, Rob. This sort of, it's a little bit like the World Cup when we went over in England in 2019, when we obviously lost a couple of games there to Sri Lanka and Pakistan. Now, we've been playing knockout cricket here from game 4 when we played New Zealand. Then we had Sri Lanka, you know. Any mistakes then with, obviously, I think the Ireland game, look, Duckworth-Lewis, it did us in the end, but we didn't play well enough to win that. If it hadn't rained, I think we probably would have got over the line there. And it would have been a little bit easier. But after that, the Aussie game was rained off. The pressure's been on England. But it seems when the pressure's on, I think that the way they played against Ireland, they maybe underestimated them a little bit, do you think?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, Ireland had already played 3 games already in the sort of prelim cup, hadn't they? So they were pretty prepped. Yeah, I think they potentially took it a bit lightly. They have played Irish enough. They know enough about the Irish. Some of them play in the Championship or the 100, don't they? So yeah, I agree with you, Rich. I think they would have got over the line. I think Mo was just ticking. I think he was probably one ball, one boundary away from winning that game. But you know what? You know, it all pans out in the end. If we'd have won the group, we'd have got, you know, whoever else, and it would have been a different route and different things could have happened. Yeah, we played knockout cricket just like we did in 2019. It was like the Pakistan game where we needed that, in the Sri Lanka game, bit of a wake-up call there. And then obviously the Aussies got away with one lightly because we'd already pasted them 3-0, hadn't we, in the warm-ups? So that would have been an absolute walkover anyway. But onto the next knockout game, New Zealand, clinical, and then the India game was just an absolute treat on Wednesday. Absolute delight to watch, and just again showed that all the points that have been made by everyone already about the depth, about the players not playing, about playing to a strategy, probably being a little bit ahead of everyone else, although our strategy seems pretty simple, which is whack it, or whack it. Have one bloke who can knock it around if not everybody who whacks it doesn't whack it. And then when Milan went out, they just put Salt in and said, right, whack it. So, and then we had a bit of left arm, bit of leg spin, a bit of off spin, bit of mystery spin, if you want to call Livingston that. I love Livingston bowling left away from both batters. You've got a tiny bit of tap today, but
We're
I
going
think
to
he's
see him.
bowled
We're
well.
going to see what he can do in the Test series. I really
Yeah,
hope
yeah.
they keep him. I really hope they keep him.
The thing is with
Open the
Livingston,
baton with him.
yeah, why not, mate? I mean, the thing is with Livingston is he didn't do a lot, but the other teams would have been absolutely papping their pants thinking Livingston's coming in, or, you know, he fielded well, and, you know, he got to be there at the end, you know, with the winning runs and stuff, but he had such a quiet tournament. But that's because he was on them. If you put your club hat on, lads, that guy bats like 7 or 8, bowls a little bit, bats a little bit. You know, that's often a role where they don't do a lot. The fact that he's that bloody good, he could have batted 4. He could have batted ahead of Brook. You know, we all love Brook, and Brook is quality, and will play for England for 10 years. But Livingston, you watch him in the domestic stuff and in the IPL, you know, in the Big Bash, he absolutely smokes it all over the place. And we didn't need that. We really didn't rely upon that quality, you know. So again, that would be a tip of the hat to just how well we did. So when the pressure was down, the best team won, and that's what we like to see, isn't it? So
Right, we got a question in the chat from Procrastinating Womble. Question: what is the ultimate form of cricket?
Test match.
Ian,
Test match.
Neil.
Well, just to pick up on something Ian said earlier, I'm just waiting for England to now be 100 world champions soon. Now we're T20.
we already are. We already are. It's like the American baseball.
It's like World Series in baseball, isn't it? If you're the only ones competing it, you're already the world champions. Anyway, no, of course it's Test cricket. Of course it is.
Yeah.
Always is.
I think we all agree with that. Right. So,
Rich, you didn't ask me.
well, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say Test match cricket.
He's going to say the 100. That's what he's going to say.
No, I was going to say the Dubai T10 actually.
Nice.
Brilliant. Anyway, right. We're going to go around the room. I want you all to each your one key moment from today's final. Brandon, you're up first. What was the key moment for you?
Can I take a Freedy's injury as the moment?
You can. Yeah, you can.
There you go. I'll take that. Brilliant. Good luck. Good luck, fellas. Cheers, boys.
I've got one.
Go, Rob.
Oh, it's got to be Rashid getting Barber out. That's absolute
He
class.
took my thunder.
I was going for that one. It was the over as well. It was the over, wasn't it?
It was, and just the fact that we're talking about Barber, you know, subcontinent, one of the best players has been, one of the best players, one of my favourite players. I absolutely love him. You ever get talking to Pakistani, you know, that's 20 minutes gone talking about Barber. He's unbelievable.
It's like Virat Kohli if he was a nice guy, isn't it?
Other way around.
Yeah, if Virat Kohli was a nice guy, he'd be Babar Azam. Yeah,
Exactly.
Exactly.
Googly, as we know, he's played way out there for the leggy, and it's cut him in half. Not only has it cut him in half, it's forced him to just squeeze it, plink it back to the bowler, and it's the context of the game. It's the fact that a class player has been got out with a googly like that and made him absolutely mugged him off. And then, you know, Rizvan's already out, and like we've already said, they're two down, all out. So walk in the park. So that is for me, Neil. Sorry, has to be said.
I'll link out.
We'll go to Ian. We'll leave you. Neil, we'll leave you. You can have a think.
I think the catches. You know, I referred to it before. I mean, you know, the catches that just fell short of the Pakistani cricketers. I think that was key. Obviously, Livingston taking 3 catches, including one that I thought was an absolutely stunning catch. So it was the catches for me. I know Brook put one down, but you know, I just think that England's fielding is excellent. Pakistan's much improved. They're a much improved outfit, but it's just those little key turning points. You know, I think there was 3 very, very near catches that could, well, if they'd have all been taken, I think it turns the game.
Neil,
I have got one. I've given it some thought, and I think I've got probably the most important one, actually.
I've already said a Freedy goal.
The fact that the weather didn't ruin it.
Yeah.
That's the key moment.
He has done well. He's done well. Well done, Neil.
That could have absolutely scuppered all our plans, and I don't mean the cricketers. I mean us watching it.
Would have cost me a day of annual leave, Neil.
Yeah, but that weren't going to harm me in the office tomorrow. That'd have knackered me completely. A test match special would have got an airing in the office. So, yeah, no, I just think the fact that he stayed away because nobody wanted Duckworth Lewis. Nobody wanted a 10-over blast. Me and Ian were talking about that at the presentation. Nobody wants that. So I was just absolutely delighted that they got the game in. So that's, yeah, very key.
The key
I'd
to
just
me,
say Rich, I'd just say the toss as well. That was crucial. I think we win either way, but just that nice, good. We won the toss. We're doing what we want to do was probably quite crucial just for nerves and settle. And again, we know we take a couple of wickets. We're chasing 140. We know what we've got to do. We've got Stokes, who's just made a steal. We'll get the job done. So the toss had some bearing, I would have thought.
So for me, it was after Afridi was injured, it was the four balls. It was the four balls where we went 4-6, 4-4, and that was broke the back of the chase, didn't it? Then it was we all could breathe a little bit easier, especially when the 6 from Stokes, you're thinking, is it going down his throat? And it's just gone over the boundary. And then Moen played a key role, didn't he? There, guys, coming. I think was it 19 off 13 balls? Lovely little cameo. Didn't bowl a lot in the tournament, but sort of this is T20. It's them little moments, is it? And today, Moen he's stood up and been counted when it needed, Rob.
Yeah, just did a bit like the point I alluded to with Livingston. He did bits and bobs. I mean, let's not forget Worcester's finest until 2023, in which case he can get in the bin. But he bowled 2 overs for 9. He bowled 2 overs for 9 at an economy of 4.5. You could argue that there was probably a little bit more scope to bowl him there, probably saving him up for left-handers potentially, or maybe it was the boundary dimensions that didn't really suit.
First over against New Zealand, Robbie bowled to
that Stumpin was out as well. Stumpin was gone as well, wasn't it?
I don't know. You reckon on the line?
Yeah,
it doesn't belong to the batsman, does it?
No.
Wasn't given though, does it? We move on.
No.
We move on. So
I was just giving him more credit, Roll. I was just backing your point, don't worry.
Yeah, but he's gone to Warwickshire now, so sometimes. But no, the second best bid in cricket did a good job. I was pretty proud of the guy. Allowed others to just play and flourish. Never wants to be the centre of attention. So just classic Mo, really. Good around the boys.
Talking about centre of attention. Now, me and Brandon, this guy, we've banged the drum long and loud all summer, haven't we, Brandon? Who are we talking about?
Sammy Curran.
Sam Curran.
Tom's brother. Oh, yeah.
13 wickets at 11s, 6.6. He got 5 for against Afghanistan. He wasn't a leading wicket taker in the tournament. That's Hasaranga of Sri Lanka with 15. But man of the match today, player of the tournament. Talk to me, Brandon. Talk to me about Sam Curran.
Well, I disagreed with the man of the match today. Although he took 3 wickets, I think Stokes was my man of the match today.
Not Rashid?
Stokes.
Well,
held it together, as we've touched on already. For me, it's Stokes today, and Curran was always, for me, player of the tournament. Like, even if Butler went on and hit like a 80-odd not out or whatever, and we won the game today, it was always going to be Sam Curran for me. Because as it was touched on by all the pundits, the one thing that we've never really seen him do for England is come back and bowl at the death. And it looks like he'd been doing it his whole career the way he done it this series. Yeah. I think our death bowling as a whole was really good. Other than I thought we let India get 20 too many in the semi-final, which didn't matter in the end.
I think that was hard for Chris Jordan, right? He hadn't played had a gig Eddie all tournament, and he's come in and he's bowled 3 overs on the spin at the end of the innings.
Yeah, and Hardik is probably one of the better finishers in the game, isn't he at the moment? So. Yeah, but I thought Curran was quality, and the way that he bowled at every stage of the innings, and every time he done it, he bowled well. He'd always have one of the first 3 overs. It would normally go Stokes, Wokes, and then Curran would come on after Stokes has had 1 over, and he'd always get like an important wicket like he did today. He got Rizwan. He'd come back and he'd bowl 1 in the middle, and then he'd bowl 2 at the death, and he just done them all so consistently well. And obviously, when you're taking wickets, whether that be that they've middled you to a 90-metre boundary and Livingston's plucked it, or whether he's bowled a perfect Yorker, it doesn't matter. And that's what I think. So much credit has to go to him, because they touched on it as well today. The last World Cup, he was
injured
there as a pundit, wasn't he? And
back, didn't he?
and so much credit has to go to him. And I think Surrey are one of the teams that do pump out a lot of really good white ball cricketers. And obviously another lad we didn't mention was what's his name?
Mark Wood.
No, Surrey batsman, played in the match
Will
series.
Jacks.
No,
Will Jacks.
that's the one. Will Jacks. Thank
Will
you.
Jacks, yeah, good player.
So I think Sam Curran was absolutely sublime, and as I said, it was his consistency, and wherever he bowled in the innings, he'd done the job he was asked to do.
Ian, will he be just a white ball specialist, Sam Curran, or can he force his way into the red ball team?
I think the red ball team might have to not do as well as they currently are doing for him to force his way in at the moment. However, Jimmy and Stuart aren't getting any younger. Joffre's still out. Mark Wood, very sadly, seems to have various injuries. So, he can only do what he's doing and keep knocking on the door. He's a good cricketer. He's a dynamic cricketer. I think I think he was man of the match today. I mean, I know you guys, are big fans of his, but to bowl a spell like that, what was it, 3 for 12 off 4 overs in a final? I mean, that's something special, isn't it? So, and Rashid's wicket maiden in a final as well was possibly one of the key moments, as we were talking about before. Can he force his way in? I don't think at the moment, because I think he's a good bowler, but red ball Test cricket, don't think he's sharp enough.
I was going to say he needs that yard of pace. If the ball's not swinging, Neil, I think he's going to be a bit sort of straight up and down, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, a little bit of eating of humble pie. I thought Curran was turning into some sort of parody of his brother. I thought he was bowling variation balls for the sake of it, which I think Tom Curran has now reached that Jay Dernbach point of doing that. I thought Sam Curran was going that direction, but fair play to him. These last few months, he's got purpose. His skills have come to the fore a lot more, and there's a lot more purpose to what he's doing with his bowling. In terms of can he do a job in the test team? Yes, he can. But I wholeheartedly support what Ian said. I think there's a selection of bowlers there now that have either proven themselves or are the next cab off the rank. And I think certainly from the test team, they've sort of gone that route whereby there's a selection of backup that are the next ones in line. And unfortunately, Curran isn't quite with those, but his ability with bat and ball could certainly get him a shot. It would just need some underperformances to push him up that group a little bit more, I think.
Got a question for you, Rob. Would Sam Curran have been playing if Reece Topley hadn't got injured?
Yes.
You think so?
Because that's not the like for like, I don't think, mate.
Who would have made way then? Brandon's mate?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, Wokes for me. Yeah, Topley was an absolute cert. He was brilliant against Pakistan.
What about them Toblerones? How big are they now? The boundary sponge.
That's kind of the first real incident of it happening, I guess. But it's like with anything in professional sport, there's some sponsorship opportunities. So it's there, isn't it? It's not going to. I don't think it's going to go away on basis of Reece Topley's ankle, I'm afraid. Yeah. But I was gutted for him because he's class. He sharp, a bit like Sean Afridi was for them. Just quick, tall, angles, pace, Yorkers, everything. But we did it without him.
Another one who came back from injury, didn't you? Like Sam Curran, he had bad injuries, Reece Topley, and you're thinking, this is his time to shine. The final. Getting back to that. Were you a fan of Toblerones, Brandon? Do you like Toblerones? Not a fan yourself.
I love a Toblerone.
No. Ian?
Whenever I'm on my way back from an airport, get a couple of the big boys.
No, don't like them. Ian, do you like Toby Ryan?
Take it or leave it, really.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Wow.
What about you, Neil? You don't. Neil doesn't strike me as
everybody
Toby Ryan.
Everybody in our family loves it. I absolutely detest the stuff.
There
So.
you go.
When we do the talking cricket secret Santa, that gives everyone an idea, doesn't it?
Are you arranging it, are you?
Oh, I can arrange it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can arrange it.
Well, it's part of the
I hope
vice
Ian gets-
captain's remit.
There you
I
go.
hope Ian gets
There
me
you go,
so he
Ian.
can get me a pair of those nice gloves. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Oh, right. Okay.
You hoping someone's going to buy you a sponsorship? Because I see you were.
Oh, I've got one.
hanging-
Got one.
You've got
got
one. Who sponsored you?
The company I
mum?
work for.
Yes, folks.
Company I work for.
Mate, it's Div 4.
Yeah. That,
Yeah, but
I don't have to pay my membership, so it's fine.
How much? How much are they paying? How much is the sponsorship?
100 quid.
Oh,
They get a receipt.
Of course they do.
When,
I write it down on the back of a lottery ticket like I've done.
when the
with
fixture's
my
out, can you
radio.
let me know? Because I want to come and watch when you two play up against each other. I'm going to be down
Of
there.
course.
I'll do a bit of filming for the show. I'll get Gov
I'll
down.
just have to make sure I'm not in the first, mate. All right.
Oh, okay.
There he is. There he is.
Anyway, shall we do some player ratings?
Yep, got mine ready.
Yeah, go for it then.
Um,
We'll go around the room. We'll go around the room because this is the quickest way to
All
go.
right.
So
all right,
start with
Skip.
we start with Joss Butler. Go on,
9.
Ian,
8.
Rob,
9.
Neil.
9.
Yeah, 9 for me.
Thought we didn't dance on ice, isn't it? I like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Alex Hales. Now, look, very lucky to be in. It was interesting, guys, when Owen Morgan was on Co-Coms. It was very interesting because he was praising him, but not too much, was he?
He's
not-
absolutely smoked that slog, isn't he? He's
not a
absolutely
fan.
smoked it.
Not a fan. Anyway, Alex Hales, I'll give him 8.
8.
Ian.
Sorry, are we going across the?
I think so.
I don't watch the dancing program.
Nor do I. Nor do I.
I'm going to give it a 7.
Ooh, 7. Rob.
7 here.
Oh, Neil.
8.
Yeah.
8 for me.
Go on now. Go on,
8's
Hales.
take
Ben,
it. The 8's take it.
We'll go Ben Stokes next. Brandon.
9.
Ian.
I've given him a 9. Yeah.
Rob.
I've gone 8.5 based on the fact that
Oh.
today was his first international T20 50.
It was.
So
Nice start.
hopping back to the debate about is he our greatest ever player, until today, both of them had as many T20 50s as him. So, yeah, 8.5, bowled okay, fielded well, great around the boys. He wasn't, but yes, he batted well in those 2 games. You know, it was a whole tournament, wasn't it? I think Butler's 9 was better than Stokes' 8.5 for me.
He just asked you for a rating, Rob, but thanks.
That's all right. No. I like that. When they back him up. I want you to get to
People
I'm only
come for the
joking, Rob.
analysis.
Rob, it's all right, Rob. It's all right. It's a
People
joke.
come for the
It's all right.
analysis, Brandon.
exactly.
Right.
I want to hear it.
It's all right,
Neil.
Rob.
9.
I'll give
Goes
Ben
out the
Stokes-
crap.
I'll give
Goes
him
out
an
the
8.
crap on 2 occasions. So yeah, 9.
He gets an 8 from me. Right. Harry Brook. We'll go Brook next. Brandon.
6.
Ian.
I'll give him a 7. There's a couple of important knocks.
Rob.
6.
Oh. What are you giving him, Neil? Come on.
A disappointed 7. I've given him probably one more than he deserves purely because he's a World Cup winner.
Yeah,
And
I'll
he's
give
Harry
him a 6. He got a decent 20 today, but he should have seen the job through. I thought he sort of put them back in.
Scratchy today.
Yeah, he put them back in the game when his running wasn't great either. Rob, was it today? He was a
No,
bit
he
sort
tried
of-
to run himself out twice. Looked
Yeah.
scratchy, looked a bit nervous.
But it's all learning.
But
It's
by
all
getting
learning
out-
for him.
But by
But
getting
young
out,
lad-
he got Shan injured, didn't he? So that was kind of
Well,
useful.
That's
Young,
good.
young lad still learning the game. I've
Yeah,
given
it's
him
fine.
a 7.
Looking forward to seeing him in the Test series. See what he can do there. Moeen Ali. 7 for me.
7.
Ian,
7.5.
why 0.5?
I think because it's he didn't deserve an 8.
Fair enough.
Fair. That is fair.
Fair enough. Rob.
Just a 7.
Yeah, 7. Neil.
7.
Where should we go next? David Milan. Obviously injured.
Oh, sorry for him.
Yeah, a bit stodgy. I think was it the 30 odd against. Was it Ireland? Did he get 30 odd?
Yeah, that didn't help.
David Milan, I'll give him a 5.
He saw us home against Afghanistan, did he not?
No, Livingston did. Livingston.
He got 60 odd in one of the games, didn't he? Or am I thinking to the T20 series against Pakistan? All right. No different to Brook for me then, other than the fact that he didn't make it through the tournament for an injury. So I'll give him a 6.
Ian.
6.5. Half a mark is limping out the way that he did. It must have been absolutely gutted. We talked about players with injuries, and yeah, I think felt sorry for the lad. But yeah, 6.5.
Ben Wilkins, obviously you know him, Rob. He says England are a much better side without Milan in it. Blessing in disguise.
I mean, I literally would have said, I'd have said that, Rich, word for word. Couldn't agree more with Ben there. Completely agree. Milan just sort of held us up a little bit. He was the glue, but it's 20 overs. We don't need the glue. Just crash bang wallop, get on with it. 50 overs maybe. There's a bit of place for that. Yeah. And Brook will probably be that guy potentially. But no, completely agree with Ben. He's a fine judge of a cricketer.
So what are you giving Milan?
5. And like Ian, exactly the same as Ian. He can have 5 and he can have a half for getting out of the way.
Sympathy.
Yeah.
Sympathy 0.5.
Is this the end, guys? Do you think for David Milan T20? Because with his age, I know there's another World Cup. Is there another World Cup next year? Is it the end of next year? Is it after the
50 over games? The next one, isn't it? And then there will be.
Is that the following?
I think
so.
West
Indies, isn't it? And USA. It's in the USA as well. That'll be interesting.
Would you guys say that when Johnny comes back, he should come in for Milan and Hales has earned his place in the squad now? Or are we thinking that maybe we put Stokes up to 3 and then maybe Livingston to 4 and then we keep everyone where they are, sort of thing? Be interesting to see what they do.
Let's chat for another time. David Milan, Neil.
6. Although I do think he was a little bit unfortunate, given the fact that if we're going on Rob's reference of whack it, whenever they needed to whack it, Milan seemed to just be the one that got moved down the order continually.
Came in 8, didn't he? And he got 300 strike rate. So
a little bit unfortunate from that perspective that he wasn't allowed to play his natural game sometimes. But just unfortunately never got going, did he really?
Liam Livingston next. Brandon.
8.
Ian.
Lancashire's Liam Livingston, 7.5.
Rob.
Yeah, same as Ian again, 7.5. He's just good around the boys. Other teams shit themselves when they see him. It's good enough for me.
Neil.
I put 8, but I'm more inclined if we're going the 0.5 route.
No, we're not doing 0.5s really. It's only them two. Catchers win matches. Fielder of the tournament.
Mr. Sam Curran. Brandon.
10.
I'll give him a 10. He's got to be a 10. He's a 10. Ian.
9.75. I'm only giving him 9.75. I've subtracted 0.25 simply because of your gushing admiration for him. So he misses out.
I thought it was because you preferred Tom Curran's first name. That's what I thought.
We can talk about this we can talk about this Wednesday over dinner, Ian.
Oh, we can, can't we? Yes. Yes, indeed.
Yes, we can. He was invited, Brandon, and you weren't.
Disgusting behaviour to the vice captain, isn't it? Oh no, never mind.
Rob, Sam,
I'm inclined to agree. I'm inclined to agree with him. I don't tend to give a 10, so yeah, 9.75 from me.
Neil,
oh, God.
10.
Thank you, Neil.
I only think the reason Ian deducted in points is because he's not Luke Wood.
Yeah, doesn't play for Lancashire. You're absolutely right.
Luke
So
Wood's
the only
another
reason he
one,
reduced it.
I reckon he's
Thank you
still
very
giving
much.
Parkinson a 10 for his tournament.
We're raising some money here for Gov. We're raising some money. David Bergin has given €5 super sticker. What is €5 worth? Is it about 25p?
£8.
No, yeah, the pound's on the rise, isn't it? The pound's
there you
going
go.
well again.
Thank you very much,
probably
David. Gov is
£4.20.
appreciate that very much. Right, we will go Chris Wokes next. Brandon, you are going last on this. I'm giving him 6. Ian.
Yeah, 6. Pretty steady. You know, nothing against Wokes.
Rob.
Sorry, yeah. 6. Bowled okay, just very samey. And if you want to get after him, you can. They probably should have done.
Oh.
Winning runs against was it Sri Lanka?
Yeah.
No harm. I think his time's up though. Neil.
You know what? I'm going to stick up for Brandon for a change. I'm going to give him a 7.
Oh.
He actually bowled
guy, you know.
Well, I'm only saying it because he bowled better than I expected him to. And let's face it, he's a thoroughly nice gentleman. He deserves that little bit more.
Well,
He's a lovely guy.
Go on then, Brandon. What are you giving your main man?
11.
I'm just going to say he took important wickets at the start of the innings. You know, he got Rahul out for not many, didn't he?
Rubbish.
What was that?
Rahul's rubbish. Didn't get a run.
How many runs have you got in T20 cricket internationally?
Oh, really?
Yeah, but no, he gets 7.75 for me. He's just a lovely guy. Hit the most important winner runs of the tournament to get us through to the semis and knock Australia out. If knocking Australia out by hitting a 4 and putting England in the semi-finals ain't enough for people, I don't know what is.
So he got 6 wickets. Did he get 6 wickets in the tournament?
6 important wickets, Crunch. Yeah, very important.
Well, I'll give him a point for every wicket he took. Mark Wood. Brandon.
He gets deducted a point from an 8 because he's made of glass. So he gets a 7 for me.
Yeah, I've given him a 7. Ian.
6.5.
Rob.
6.5.
8 for me. I just love it. I just love watching him run in and bowl fast and fall over and be the absolute spirit of the party. Everybody wants to play in a team with him and spend time with him before, during, and after the game. He bowls absolute 97-mile-an-hour rockets, and I want to see more of him. And he was a breath of fresh air, and England were poorer for not having him playing in the last 2 games.
It's really good on the Middle Please Umpire podcast with Miles Shupp as well. Other podcasts are available.
Better ones available.
Yeah,
I want to get his book.
in it.
Fingers crossed in the Secret Santa that I get the book.
What is the budget?
We'll set it at how much are the gloves that you put on the
€5.
Well, I can. I'm sure we can offer. I could do a pre-Christmas deal or
we'll say
deal. So
we'll say £20 or a lovely pair of batting gloves is the limit.
Wow, that's that I might be making a loss on that, but yeah, we'll see what we can do. I might sell them for £20.75 to get the number up there, but I'm sure we can sort something out.
Neil,
I'm going to go on the 0.5 train and give him 7.5. The only downside, I'm like Rob. I love Mark Wood. I love listening to him on that other said podcast, and I think he is a throwback to. We're talking clubby here. I think he's a throwback to a club player, which is much needed in that environment. Just the only downside is he had the propensity to have one expensive over every so often. And I would have given him an 8 if it weren't for that. So 7.5.
Fingers crossed he's fit for the Test series, guys. Because
Mm.
without him in Pakistan, I think we're going to struggle out there. We will go for who we got left. Chris Jordan. Brandon.
7. The masterful sub-fielder role gets him an extra point for me.
How does he run in with them massive chains around his neck? That's got to weigh him down, sure.
Because he's cool, Crunch. That's why.
He's tall, isn't he?
Because he's cool. Oh yeah.
I'll give him a 7. I'll give him a 7 because he probably wouldn't have played a game, would he? If Wood had been fit, he would have been carrying the drinks. Ian, Chris Jordan.
Yeah, probably a 7. I think he's somebody that can come in and do a job. I see him more as a squad player. Obviously, I think that's what he's being used for. He's got tremendous experience, and apart from some 1 or 2 bits of comedic fielding today, it was pretty tight in the field. But he's got good hands as well, and he can, give it the long handle when he needs to. So a 7 for me.
Rob? 6 for me. It was rather expensive with the ball when he going at 10s pretty much. I know he bowled at the death, but he did definitely give India far too many to play with in the semi. Great fielder, but didn't tear the world up. Probably doesn't play if Topley or Wood or Fit or whoever else. So solid 6.
Neil?
7. And I do like Chris Jordan because he is one of the only cricketers in the world now who actually sees the benefit of a Yorker and can bowl it very, very well. So I do not understand why the Yorker isn't used more. But hey-ho.
Adil Rashid. Brandon.
The 2 or 3 matches we needed him most was when he bowled at his best. So I've given him an 8. Today's performance put him up 2 from a 6.
Ian.
Yeah, I'd give him an 8. Really good numbers. In a wicket made in the World Cup final, fantastic.
Rob.
Yeah, 8. I agree with Brandon for a change. He jumped up today.
Wow.
He jumped up today. Brandon was probably listening to the fantastic analysis for the last hour about it. So
cheers, Rob.
8, agreed. Fair enough. Bowled well in the final. Bowled well, just quite on the quiet, just did the job in the middle. Very average fielder. Didn't have to bat, but good around the boys.
Had a catch. Had a catch. He took a Kohli.
Regulation.
Come on. Neil.
Love you, Rob.
Well, of course, I'm going to give him a 9 because he's not Parkinson, number 1.
There you go.
And I genuinely think that England are a very much poorer side without Adil Rashid in it. So he's a World Cup winner. So I'm going to give him a 9.
He should be on that plane to Pakistan for the Test series, shouldn't he?
Yeah, it's not going to happen, is it?
Because they should have done everything they could.
He's after doing what he's doing. End off.
Yeah, he is. I've given him 8.5. I thought he was outstanding. Look, he didn't get the wickets, but he was. What was he going at, Rob, throughout the tournament?
Oh,
6s?
did just look, mate.
6.2,
maybe. He was England's, with the exception of Mo's cheeky 2 overs for 9. Russia was our best on the economy. 6.2. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's right.
I think the worst he bowled was against New Zealand, wasn't it? I think Phillips who tucked into him a little bit, or someone hit him for quite a couple over, slapping it over mid wicket as you do, and he bowled a little bit short. But I think the best players in the world play at their best when everything's on the line. And as you touched on, England played 4 knockout games, and that's when Stokes and players like Rashid came through and won us the games. So I thought he was brilliant.
So last but not least, Phil Salt. He's played 2 games, only batted once, so I'll give him a 5. Got some great shoes. Like his footwear. Might bump him up to a 6 for his wheels. Brandon.
Nice. I give him a 6 for the Fly Emirates sponsorship advert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They loved that, didn't they? Every time. When was that filmed? When was that filmed, Ian? That was obviously at Old Trafford.
What's that?
The Fly Emirates advert. It was obviously filmed at Old Trafford, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because Gleason's on it as well. So.
Yeah, he's on there.
Yeah,
I love that they filmed Gleason bowling, and rather than just having Gleason celebrate the wicket, they have Phil Salt stood there going, "Yeah, Gleason."
Oh, nice to see a few lanky lads in the squad. I'd give Sol a 7. I don't think he was expected to play, but it's good that he's around the squad. He's another one that could easily come in and do a job. I know he didn't play a particularly good shot today. They just changed the field and he got it sort of. It was quite high on the bat, so it was a poor execution. But you sometimes play the way that these lads play.
Is he in the squad? Is he in the squad, Ian, for the 350 over games in Australia?
I'm assuming so.
Yeah, could you get that squad up, Rob?
I'm looking, mate. Just a second.
Yeah, have a look. Neil,
I just give him a 5, just purely because he didn't really have too much opportunity. My only concern with Sol that he does take the old Rob's analogy of whack it a little bit too extremes. I think he can try and go too aggressive too soon, but no, just a 5 for me. Yeah,
agreed. I'm a 5 as well. I'm going to take one off for the stupid advert that I had to endure for a month as well. Who was it? Salt's in, yeah.
What's the squad for that? Because it's a little bit of a strange sort of timing.
Butler, Ali, Billings, Curran, S, Dawson, Jordan, Milan, Rashid, Roy, Salt, Stone, Vince, Willie, Wokes, and Wood. So 15. So anyone who's got a test contract will have gone home for a quick rest and then out to Pakistan.
Is there 3 people on the reserve, or was that just for the World Cup? Because I know that I imagine Wood might maybe withdraw from that if he's going to be playing Test cricket.
No, it's Luke Wood. Sorry, mate.
Right. Never mind.
We get to see James Vince. We get to see James Vince again. Neil. James Vince again for England.
Yeah, I mean, I could always switch over when he's batting, can't I? There's always other channels to watch.
I think he's on BT.
It'll only be the length for the adverts, won't it?
BT. Well,
I should have thought about that, Brandon, shouldn't I?
Anyway, quickly, we've done nearly an hour. We're just over an hour. We'll quickly fly around the room. What was your game of the tournament? I will go first. My game of the tournament was South Africa choking yet again. When everybody thought they were going to sail through to the semi-finals, out they went to the Netherlands. Choked again, Brandon.
With De Kock in the team. How embarrassing.
Oh, what a great gag.
Probably did.
My game of the tournament as an England fan is our absolute walloping of India for selfish reasons.
Yeah. Ian.
Come up.
Oh no, there's people with their hands up.
No, he has to wait his turn. He's trying to get in before you are. That's what he's trying to do. I know, Rob.
No, I quite enjoyed the game that Zimbabwe won right at the death. I thought that was an exciting game of cricket, and as a neutral, you can enjoy it, and the underdog won. And I thought that was fantastic. So that would be my game of the tournament.
Go to Neil.
Rob.
Neil.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Craig in the chat, not for the first time tonight, Craig. India, Pakistan, that quote, what was it, Shastri, I think, on the mic, or Rami's, Nawaz, what have you done, Nawaz, as he flings a wide in a terrible over. Great game. Pakistan, India, 90,000 people, ridiculous finish, unbelievable scenes, no balls, the ball that bowled him that went for 3 byes.
That was the great one, wasn't it, when it's cleaned him up and it's running down to third man. Just chaos. Crowd going absolutely crazy, Rob.
And then, the 2 6s by Kohli off balls, sort of the penultimate over. And then Ashwin, who I absolutely love to hate, really struggle with that bloke. And then he just steps inside the wide to allow it and then just chips him over mid-off, cool as a cucumber. Pakistan lost that game on the last ball and then they lost the next game on the last ball. So really, I know they were in the bin after 2 games, but really, until today, they'd only ever lost on the last ball. So, again, shows how good England are.
Neil.
But, yeah, that game.
I've got to support Brandon. I've gone for the India mauling. I just think I'd been in a work meeting, come out, looked at my phone, and saw that we were 100 odd for none. I was like, oh my word! And what made it even better, and I don't know if anybody's listened much to Test Match Special during the tournament, Ravi Bopara has been an absolute ray of light on there.
He was great.
He's told everything as it is, and his scathing analysis of India in that game.
Did he say 7 years? Did he say 7 years behind us? Did he now?
Yeah, 5 or 6 years behind us. Yeah. From a country that have the IPL. I mean, yeah, it was really good to listen to and everybody was saying it that England were the underdogs going into that game. Yeah, well, stuff your underdog status. That's how you win a game of cricket.
We ran an all-run 4 as well. That was my favourite delivery of the tournament. That's
the relay throw.
He's relayed it 40 yards, isn't he? It's brilliant.
He just got to love it there for about 10 yards. He's literally just launched it over his head. I'll tell you one of my highlights of the tournament, right? We're seeing Mr. Cricket, David Hussey, wearing an England tracksuit.
Mike Hussey.
Oh, it's Mike, was it? Yeah, not David. That's his bloody brother, isn't it? Mr. Cricket, Mike Hussey, wearing an England tracksuit, Rob.
Just after we knocked out Australia as well, wasn't it? That was when he was
He said it. He said he found it awkward, and you would do on a level. But at the end of the day, it's a job, and you're just paid to do a job. And his job was to, work with batters primarily, and the captain, and plot out how they're going to win a tournament in Australia. It's really Matthew Mott, fair play to him. Hasn't really had much credit for it, but really clever plotting out of how they're going to win this tournament. It might be that Hussey's not involved anymore moving forward. It might be that they look at a certain spin coach in Pakistan or whatever it is. But yeah, very, very good person to have involved. And did an absolute job on him. And yes, it would have hurt him a little bit maybe, but at the end of the day, his job's a job, and he's an ultimate professional. So cheers, Mike. Nice one.
Well, just before we go, I thought it was really nice today when they were obviously celebrating and they had brought out all the families, all the kids. I think Josh Butler his mum and dad were there. I thought that was really, really. They seem like a real tight-knit group, don't they? And I know they're well paid, these cricketers. They go all over the world. But I thought that was a really nice touch that they had their families there. David Willey, there was a great shot with David Willey with his 2 kids. He's gutted again. He's got a World Cup T20 winners medal, but he hasn't played it. He hasn't stepped on the field, has he? So that was probably a little bit bittersweet for him. But I just think it's where can we go with this white ball team? Is this the pinnacle, or can we go to India, guys, and can we retain that trophy when we go over there next year in the 50 overs? What do we reckon?
Let's just go let's go to a tournament. Let's be invincible. Let's win every game by 10 wickets.
Absolutely. I mean, there's going to be a couple of changes. You've got, the people we've mentioned. You'd have thought if Archer's fit, he'll play. Topley, hope so. Johnny back in. So that's maybe 3 or 4 that could come in and make it stronger. I think Ali's probably could go this week. Ali could walk away. He might not keep going.
Why not? Is he 35 now, Rob? Moeen Ali?
I think 35, 36. It could be 36 very soon. I'm not sure. But yeah, he's definitely.
Do you think he might give away the 50 overs and just stick around for the T20s?
Well, that's where the money is, isn't there? But,
yeah.
He was one who, he played half of the 2019 World Cup, didn't he? And then Plunkett came in halfway through the group and took his place for the balance of the side with more sort of 4-seamers. He was unlucky, but he might want to just, have a dabble at winning both. I'm sure he'll play if he's picked. Curran looks like he'll force his way into that side now. You hope you've got a Wood or an Archer and a Topley. Rashid, probably one more go for him, and then the batting picks itself with riches galore in the shed.
Big series for Jason Roy coming up, guys, in Australia. He's back in. He's got 3 games here, and he really needs to hit the ground running, doesn't he, Neil? Straight away, and he needs to get some runs because obviously, will Hales get selected? Will he be in the 50 overs? Is he just going to be in the T20s? Look, we've got so many players we can pick, haven't we? Johnny's obviously on the mend with his leg.
Well, this is it, and this is what when we say, can we win another tournament? This is what we've been talking about all the way through. The strength in depth we've got is ridiculous. So there's nothing to stop us winning a tournament. But at the same time, for somebody like Jason Roy, that heaps the pressure back on him, as you said, to come in and perform straight away, because there will be others itching to get a chance who are in the background. Will Jacks, as we've been talking about, as one in a from a batting capacity. You know, there are plenty of others that are itching to get in there. So yeah, he will have to perform. So let's wait and see how he goes.
Do we think that Hales is a new leadership, fresh start, sort of clean slate for him now? That's why he's in the squad and he's done well when he's been in. And obviously we talked about the brilliant atmosphere that it seems like the squad have, and he's been a part of that now. So he might be back in the mix for all formats, other than Test, because he's a bit tosh.
Craig reports Smeed and Jacks pushing for places. There you go. So look, great show as always, guys. We've obviously got the Test series. I think starts at start of December. Free test in Pakistan.
Yeah, first 9th and 17th.
So we'll probably do a review, a preview of that the week sort of leading up, and we can sort of give our thoughts, how we think we're going to go. It's going to be tough out there, but I'm really looking forward to it. I think England will be excited to get out there. You know, we had a great summer. It'll be interesting to see how we go out there. But thanks for everyone for tuning in, and we will see you on the next show. Take care.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.